So just imagine with me for a second that you have charged all of your batteries, you've connected your flash or your trigger with your camera, you've turned everything on, so you go to click the shutter and nothing happens. Your flash does not fire. Maybe you have stumbled upon this video because this is actually your reality. This is what you're struggling with right now and trying to figure out. This is the right place to be. I'm going to be going through my top 6 reasons for why your Godox flash may not be working. My name is Kelly Hoagland, and I'm a photographer near Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I've spent my fair share of time trying to diagnose what is happening with my flashes. I used to be freaked out by flash because it seems like it was so hard to get them to work and to get the look that I was going for. But I have fallen in love with flash, and I use it all the time for my in-home and indoor on-location sessions, and I would love to help you learn flash and love it too. If you are a completely new beginner when it comes to flash and you're not sure what all of these buttons mean, what all the different modes are, then I highly recommend that you check out my free quick start flash photography course, and I will link that below this video. It just kind of goes through the basics of setting up your flashes and getting them to work. I also offer a full in-home flash photography course where I go through my entire setup, my equipment, the settings I use whenever I'm doing in-home or on-location sessions. So I will include that information in a link for that course as well. Let's dive in. So if your flash is not firing, which I guess I should pause and say, I typically use the Godox V1. I also have a V862, and I use a Sony a7 IV, most typically on my sessions. So the first thing I would look at if I'm trying to diagnose why my flash is not working, I would check to make sure that the hot shoe of my flash or my trigger is fully pushed into my camera. These can be really kind of like a tight fit, especially if it's a new flash or trigger or you've not used flash a lot on your camera. Sometimes you have to kind of like wiggle and push to make sure that you have a true connection and that it's locked in. Sometimes if I don't have it completely pushed in, I'll actually find I have a little window on the screen of my camera that will say something like accessory not compatible or not connected. And usually that just means that I've not fully pushed in the flash. So start there. If you're having trouble, just make sure that you actually have a good connection between your equipment and your camera. Number 2, check and make sure that you are not in silent shutter mode. So I know my camera, which is mirrorless, and I think a lot of the newer cameras have a silent shutter mode where it doesn't make much of a sound when you click the shutter. But unfortunately, your flash actually needs the mechanical shutter, the more traditional shutter, to open and close in order to trigger the flash. So if you typically shoot in silent shutter, try switching over to mechanical shutter and see if that solves the problem. Number 3, check and see if your shutter speed is too fast. So it's a little bit different for each camera model. My Sony a7 IV specifically, the max sync speed, so the highest shutter speed that I should use when I'm using traditional flash is 1/250th of a second. So if I try to go above that, like faster than that, actually, especially if I have like my trigger in the hot shoe, I can try to go to a faster shutter speed, but my camera won't let me go past 1/250. Your camera may allow you to go past your maximum sync shutter speed. In that case, you may end up with like black banding, like your flash will fire, but there will be a distortion to the image that it takes. So check and make sure that you are aware of your actual maximum sync shutter speed. Now, there is a high sync option. So if you're needing to use a faster shutter speed because of movement, or because you're using flash outdoors, you just need to make sure that you've turned on the high sync option if you're wanting to use a faster shutter speed. Number 4, check and make sure that you're in the correct mode. So there are different windows or interfaces on your flash depending on the way that you're using it. So there's a certain mode if you're using just strictly on camera. There's another mode if you're wanting to use on camera, but you're wanting to trigger a second flash that's off camera. And then there's a completely different mode for your off camera flash. If you're not sure what at all I'm talking about, then I do highly recommend that you sign up for the free Quick Start course, because in that course, I go through all of the different modes that you need to use within your flash, depending on the type of setup that you are using. So you need to make sure that you're in the correct mode. So for example, if I'm set in receiver or slave mode, which is meant for off-camera flash, but I have the flash in my hot shoe, it's not going to go off because nothing is sending it a signal. It's waiting for a signal from either another flash that's in transmitter mode or from the trigger. So you need to make sure that you're in the correct mode. And if that's confusing, check out the free course. Number 5, it's possible, like if your flash has been working, but then all of a sudden it's not firing consistently, like it's only firing half of the time that you hit the shutter or like a third of the time, that may be due to your flash recycle time. So when, especially the Godox V1, when it is fully powered, you can get away with firing it pretty rapidly and like the flash will go off every time, which I tend to be a little bit of an overshooter, especially when it comes to photographing younger kids. Like I'm pretty trigger happy. And so I love it when my battery is full because the flash goes off every time I hit the shutter, which is a lot. But as you drain the battery, your flash needs more and more time to kind of like recharge or recycle. And so typically you will see, let's see, there's this button on the back, which it was just blinking red. That's because it's like powering up and recycling. When it turns green, then it's ready to shoot. So it may just be that you need to slow down a little bit and give your flash some time to catch up with you. Number 6, if you are using off-camera flash, you need to make sure that all of your pieces of equipment are on the same channel, which is denoted by a number. So currently I have my trigger set to 21 and both of these flashes are also set to 21. So if I accidentally set one of my flashes to channel 15, it's not going to go off because it's not on the same frequency as my trigger. So you need to make sure that they are all on the same channel, which is the number. However, if you're using 2 off-camera flashes, you still want them on the same channel, but you need to make sure that they're on a different group. So the group is denoted by a letter. So this one I currently have set to A, and I have this one set to B, and I've made sure that both A and B are turned on my trigger. If I accidentally have them both set to A, one of them will not fire. Like it will just turn itself off. And sometimes it'll even say off in all capitals on the screen. And it's super frustrating because even if you change it to the correct, like a different group, sometimes you still have to like turn everything off and turn it back on for the trigger to register. Like, okay, we have 2 different groups now that we are going to trigger. So let me make sure that, oops, went to sleep, that we are both of them on. We do. So this one, like I said, is set to B and this one is set to A, but everything is on the same channel. So same channel, which is the number, different group, which is the letter. I hope that you found this video helpful in diagnosing what might be going on with your Godox flashes and why they are not firing. If you're still having issues, feel free to leave a comment below. And also just let me know how long you have been playing around with flash with your photography. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you would like to see more like this in the future. Thank you so much for watching.